Hello everyone. Have you ever wanted to shave off a few weeks of training time for practically free? Well, I will tell you just how to do that in this video, and I will be as straightforward as possible as not to waste your time. In the first part of this video, I will be showing you how and why it works, and then in the rest of the video, I'll be showing you some things I learned to be able to do everything as fast as possible. So you might already recognize this, but this Air Career program, it gives you skill points as rewards along the way, and that's basically the whole trick to getting free skill points. If you earn 3,000 career points, you will get a total cumulative of like 750,000 skill points, which I think is like a month of training time. If you're like me, you only had one character and didn't know that the redeem queue is account wide, and all of these rewards go to your redeem queue. So what's interesting is you can complete the career program on your second character. It'll go in the queue, and then you can go on to your main character and redeem all the items. I have my second character here, where he completed most of the tasks, but I haven't claimed anything yet. I'll be claiming everything now and showing you that it works as intended. Might be a little slow. All these bars filling up. Good lord. You see if we hit one of these milestones, that which pays out a lot of skill points. And then at each of the graduation rewards for finishing a tree gives out skill points as well. So now I have a bunch of stuff in my redeem queue. Most importantly, we have a lot of skill points. So I will be switching to my alt.
Skill training completed.
So now I'm on my main character. He has no skill points unallocated right now. I'll go down to the redeem queue, and you see we have all the same stuff here, and I can go search up skill points, redeem, and boom, 100,000 skill points is now allocated to this character. This is not an exploit or a glitch as far as I'm aware. We're just using the system as intended, and I guess theoretically you could delete your alts and make new ones and just do the program again. There's no other cost besides it takes a lot of time, and I'll be putting the times that I had up on the screen because I did this 2 times. My main character completed the program, and then on the second time I started keeping track of like what I was doing, and then in this video I'll be doing it a 3rd time. So I don't have all the answers, but I have a little bit of experience that I will be sharing with you, like tips and tricks, so you can complete it as fast as possible. That's basically the entire thing, and in the rest of the video I'll be showing you how to grind them out as fast as possible. So here I am on a brand new alt. I'm going to be doing the career missions first. Go through here, here, and then here. Set destination for Cooster. While we're flying there, there's another way to get skill points, and it's the Refer a Friend program. If you already know about it, just jump ahead. But basically, EVE is a recruitment program to get people to get their friends to sign up, and the person signing up gets 1 million skill points, which is like a month of training time. And even if you already have an account, you could sign up with somebody's link. You just have to follow their link and log in. And there's nothing for me, I don't see your personal information, or I'll show you right now. It just says recruit, and when you sign up, I don't get anything unless you buy subscription time. So open mine underneath this video in case you haven't done it before, so you can get your 1 million skill points. If you're not planning on paying for a subscription, you should save yours until you get 5 million skill points, total skill points, because those 1 million skill points is really useful. All alpha accounts are only allowed to have 5 million total skill points, and it's one of the best ways to get past the 5 million skill point cap is either with this method or referring a friend. Once you hit the cap, it'll put you at 6 million. So I'm not a spreadsheet wizard by any means, but I'll put like my run times on the screen as like my best estimates. I did use a timer on my second run through of this. It took me like a week to do, and I only play like 3 to 5 hours a day. I started my timer basically anytime I was sitting down and playing the game. This included like me walking away from my computer, and I was multitasking for pretty much all of it. So you could probably do this faster than me.
Drive active.
I also watched stuff on my second monitor throughout most of this because it is pretty boring, and it usually doesn't require attention except on like hard missions. So we just got TD station with the career agents, but before we talk about the career agents, let's just weigh the cons and pros of doing this, because it would probably help you decide if you want to do this stuff. First pro is you get 750,000 skill points, which is pretty huge, pretty big pro. Con, it takes a couple days. Pro, it's free to do, and it's a boon for alpha accounts because of that 5 million skill point capacity. Con, pretty boring. Pro, you make ISK from doing this, between 40 to 70 million for each completed run, which isn't a lot for like how much time you're putting in, but if you're new, it's probably a really decent way to make ISK. And when you're doing the program, you get a bunch of skins and assets and equipment. Another con, the more you do it, the even more boring it becomes. This is my third time doing it, and this will be my last time doing it. Another pro, you don't have to do it all at once. The only thing you want to do all at once is when you get to doing the program task. You want to use these to give you the skills in order to finish them. So that kind of gives you a time window to complete these. I think these are like 3 days long. Con. Oh, that goes with that con. You have to do them with the expert systems. Pro, it doesn't require any skill training besides, I think, 2 skills to use the equipment for electronic warfare. I think only like 2 of these are not included in the expert system. But you don't have to really train anything besides that, because after you do the career missions, everything you do need will be provided by the expert AI, except those 2, which I'll tell you about later. So, for the career missions, you basically want to do them in a particular order, because they will give you rewards that you can turn in for other quests. For example, when we complete the Explorer chain, we're going to get a frigate. And then in the last Industrialist producer quest, they want you to produce and turn in a frigate. But they don't care where you got the frigate from. So you just turn in this frigate that you're probably never going to use anyway. And the quest is done immediately.
Drive active.
The order, I'll put it on the screen now, and I'll put my times again on the screen. But it goes Explorer, Enforcer, Soldier of Fortune, and Industrialist Entrepreneur, Industrialist Producer. If you blitz the mission objectives, you do it pretty fast and get about 40 million ISK total when you finish everything. And if you do just the career agents, it will hit this first milestone for 50,000 skill points. So you don't have to do everything to get some skill points. I'll be putting a bunch of tips out as fast as possible and as coherently as possible to help you finish everything right away. And I'll try to keep them in chronological order as well as timestamp them in the video so you can just jump around. Oh, this is awesome. Giant fuck off asteroid in my way. One thing to note before you do the career missions, once you hit mission, once you complete the career mission chain for each one, you're gonna want to not use this expert system because you're gonna want to save them for later. For when you're completing the rest of these tasks, you don't want to just use it right away. So be careful when you are in your redeem queue as not to accidentally activate it. Some general tips for when you're doing the career missions, I would say just don't sell anything because you might need it and it's just easier to not sell anything at all. Besides, you don't really even need the ISK right now until you finish all the missions. For example, you might, if you accidentally sell an afterburner and then you get to one of the later missions where you have to turn in afterburners, you might find yourself annoyed that you did that and you have to produce them yourself or pay a lot to get them. And then that would just be frustrating because you're trying to do this as fast as possible. What the fuck is going on? Oh my god. When you go to turn in quest items like those afterburners, make sure that your item, the quest item, is repackaged and that doesn't come up if you don't touch it at all. But in my experience, I used a couple of the modules and then when it was time to turn them in, I just took them off my ship and it didn't recognize that I had them because they were unpackaged. You can try to blitz the mission objectives. I would try every room, but sometimes they make you do everything in the quest. Like for one of the upcoming missions, you have to turn in 1,000 Velspar, and you're like, oh, why don't I just buy 1,000 Velspar? Because it forces you to fly out there anyway, and mine at least once. And if you can skip steps, I will cover it later. And there are several program tasks that you can do while you're doing these career missions. For example, there's a bunch of social ones in Soldier of Fortune that you can do. You could knock these out while you're flying around, and you could also do project discovery. And I would start this right away as you're flying in between systems because you need to do 50 to complete that career program task, and it forces you to slow down and stuff and stops you from completing more. So the earlier you start, the better you'll be to getting the all 50 done as fast as possible. And then another way to avoid getting stopped is to not do these as fast. So just complete a few and take a moment off. Another general tip is some of the career missions, they're going to make you use drones, right? So as soon as you get a ship that can use drones, I would switch to it and stick with it, because if you're jumping, like for example, in Galente, we get the Atron first, but it doesn't carry a drone bay. So instead of switching to a combat frigate, I'm just going to stay in my Amicus, just so I don't have to worry about changing the ships and the fittings. But that's a small thing. Before you leave the training academy station, you're going to want to buy these 2 skill books. They're very cheap, but they're not sold in every station, but they are probably sold in the Career Agent station. You need these 2 skills in order to finish the Soldier of Fortune branch, and these 2 skills are not covered in any of the expert systems that you'll be using. So unfortunately, you have to train these up or use skill points, but fortunately these are both very fast skills to train. 17 minutes for that one, 25 minutes for that one. So not taking away too much, or if you get lucky you could complete a daily challenge for some skill points real quick, but I'm not very fortunate. I don't have an easy one to do. So I'll just be stopping my queue real quick, putting these in. Another thing to be on the lookout for as you're completing these is that in the daily challenges they give out ever marks, and those count as loyalty points, which goes here. Basically, if you do one, you complete 4 of these tasks, and then for this last one, spend 300 loyalty points. You're going to need a bit more than whatever they give you to actually turn them in, because I think like the cheapest item is 2,000 Evermarks at the Paragon store, and to find the closest one, you're just going to go Paragon stations. Pull this out. So we have one in Dodixie. So we'll just go to that station and open up the LP store and buy the cheapest item to finish that career task. So we're here on the Explorer missions. There's not really any tips here, except, you know, bring your afterburner, because you're basically just traveling through rooms. There is one tip I would recommend. Not really a tip to do the Explorer stuff faster, but the Explorer program, you can benefit a lot by over scanning signatures in the training system, because they're very easy to scan down. So you just keep analyzing, and even though these are at 100%, they're going to be counting anyway towards scanning 50 signatures overall. In order to complete the Explorer program, you're definitely going to have scanned 50 things like just naturally, but this is a surefire way to make sure you do get them all, and you can get the career points already done relatively fast. So I just like to do this because it's making me scan down stuff anyway in order to complete this quest. So I'm just scanning. You can do this with any cosmic anomaly, but it's just better if you're in the training system, because these are so low level and there's so many that it just goes by very fast. You can see my tracker here is showing them click up very, very fast. Yeah, so these training crates don't even count. Interesting. But since I'm already out here, I'm gonna go collect the relic. Proof of discovery.
Warp drive active.
Here you can see I went on to the relic quest and I already have it on me, so that's too easy. Here's an example of blitzing. on the enforcer task chain. I'm just going to go straight for the objective, kill him and loot him, and then go to dock. And it goes a lot faster than if I cleared the whole room.
Warp drive active.
Here on this Soldier of Fortune mission, it's not a big thing, but you could insure the ships that have to be blown up. And you just make a little bit extra money for getting blown up by the mission. You can do this with Soldier of Fortune Mission 2. And then I don't remember which one it is, but it's called The Last Stand. And you fly, and you have to just kill one thing and then get blown up. And you need at least 2 weapons to be able to get enough DPS and kill that one ship you have to destroy. And then you just let them blow you up. And when you do either of these missions, don't bring the afterburner in, because you need to turn that in later, so make sure you don't put that on. Here's the quest I was talking about. Doesn't recognize that we have both of these, because we need to repackage one of them. There we go. Same thing for this one. There it goes. Here on your first producer mission, you're gonna have to get some Velspar, and even though you already have it, they're gonna make you fly out there anyway. But buy it anyway, so you don't have to actually mine 1,000 Velspar. You just have to complete the first mining cycle, and then it'll tell you to go dock and turn in the quest. On this one, you can't buy the item and turn it in, but you can buy the Velspar again and put it in your hold, so you don't have to stay out there as long. Here you go. You can see I just killed the enemies, and it says, hey, you're done now. Like with the other ones, just buy these. Not worth waiting for them. And here, mining Kernite. If you want to make this go faster, you can set a bookmark,
Asteroid is depleted.
go back to the station, swap out the lasers, come back out here, or you could leave a friend out here and warp back to them. Whatever you want to do, you don't want to turn in the mission items until you mine all the Kernite, because the site will despawn if nobody's here once you turn in the mission. Here in this mission, you will have to actually manufacture it, because it just doesn't go on the market. So here's that last quest you need to complete. Turn in that frigate instantly. Done with the chain. So once you get to your trading hub and you've put everything on the market that you don't need,
Drive active.
go ahead and look for the cheapest low tier blueprint you can find, which is usually ammo, and go pick it up. For this next part, I'd like to knock out the Industrialist task first. That's because when you're manufacturing and researching, those take time, and once you do the active parts of Industrialist, like the mining, then you could go ahead and jump on to your next thing, and then whenever you come back to your station, you could start a new blueprint. For this task, we're going to be completing the market, harvesting, refining, some of manufacturing, and all research. So, yep, first grab yourself a venture and go ahead and put on your Industrialist Expert AI system. You don't actually need to use it to complete this, but it'll help you do it faster, and I don't know when else you would use this expert system, really. So you got your venture kitted out. You don't really need any weapons because you're going to be mining all this in high sec. You're going to go buy your blueprint, you're going to go find the nearest research station, and don't forget to drag it out of your ship. And you can see, I just found out that the text underneath research is very specific for a reason. you cannot use one that you already researched. You don't get credit for that. So, do have to buy a brand new one, and then come in here, hit start. I'm just going to wait the 2 minutes and then turn it on to the other research. And then when you're done researching, you're going to queue up copying. And you do it in that order because the researches take a lot less time. Copying it takes a day. And then that would be done pretty easily and not very expensive. So this is going to take a while because basically each one of these is you have to fill up your mining hold with each ore that it asks for, which is not very hard. It just is time consuming. So you could do something on your second screen while your ship is mining. And then you want to bring that stuff back, reprocess each of it, and then you'll see that you get blueprints for reprocessing the ore. And you want to come and manufacture a frigate and a destroyer, and here's where you can make a decision. So you can get some of the 50 points from making a cruiser, which would cost like 10 million in materials, or you could spend time on your enforcer arc. When you're doing the enforcer stuff on the epic arc, you could spend time in each room salvaging wrecks, because that's how you're going to get your last 50 points, is either from making a cruiser, which costs you money but it doesn't really require any work, or you could salvage a bunch, which may take longer than you would want, but you will make money even doing that. For the market, you're just going to sell your stuff, and if you're going with the salvaging route, you're definitely going to make that money from immediate sell orders. And for these 2 agent missions, you're going to complete just enough by just finishing the epic arc that you will finish out the industrialist tree. So the industrialist tree is pretty easy to do. It just takes time, but it's not very annoying. And then once you finish all your harvesting tasks and you're just waiting on the blueprints to do, you can go ahead and move on to the next section. So I think my thing is done. Yep. And I got progress for that one because it was original. And then I'll switch it over to the next one and hit start, and then I'm going to wait for 2 minutes, and then I'm going to put it on copying, and then I'll come back in a day and pick it up so I can get credit. Hello, so I'm back at the trading hub for Soldier of Fortune. The expected way is to do these through PvP and like duels and stuff, but that would take a lot of time and work, so you'll find somebody, a friend or another person who hasn't completed their own Soldier of Fortune task, and you'll kind of cheese it. So basically, all of these are about employing systems on other players. So you're gonna fit up in the best ship that you have, because a major component of this is that you're gonna be draining your capacitors so fast, and they're gonna be draining their capacitors so fast. So a bigger ship is better, but you'll just fly out somewhere, employ each of these systems on them for 300 seconds, dock, swap out to a different module, and you'll do the same for the capacitor warfare. Is what you need to buy a skill book for, as well as the weapon disruption skill book. And once you do those, the 2 branches, you're going to go here, you're going to do the shield boosting and the armor repair. Same thing, so you're going to have to shoot each other a bit and then fix it up. And to end it off with, you're going to take turns destroying each other's ships. I went to lose 10 ships to complete my tree, and when you do that, the person destroying the ship is going to complete this branch as well for destroying ships. For duels, I went ahead and did 15 because these are easy to do. You just wait for the timer to go down, and then you invite them to a duel again. and I don't even think you need to be next to each other to initiate one. And when it comes to the duels, there's only one task where you have to initiate, and then the rest, you just have to be in a duel. So we're out here in space now. Invite him to a duel, and target them. And I brought out these two modules. I'm going to activate them both. Let that tick down. Go here. I'm going to track. And brought a salvager out because when you're destroying the other person's ship, you can also salvage it at the same time to go ahead and work on that task. That's basically it for the Soldier of Fortune branch. I think you'll be finishing Frigate and Destroyer just by doing the Enforcer task, because that's what happened for me, and then you'll max out Soldier of Fortune. I'm currently doing the Epic Arc. I put on the Enforcer Expert system, and that gives me 3 days to complete the Epic Arc without spending any points on skills required to fly better ships. And I'll be putting on these salvagers, as I mentioned earlier, so I can clear rooms. But I'm only going to go for the big rooms. And then we're going to be aiming for 200 or 250 ships destroyed to complete the arc. So once you finish all the epic stuff, just fly around to combat anomalies like Serpentis hideouts and destroy ships until you hit that. And then if you still need some points, you can supplement that with the abyssals, which are not very hard to do at tier 0 if you look up a fit to bring in. You won't be completing the bounty one completely by the time you finish all this. You should get the 3rd bounty task, but not all of them, because the last one is 5 million, so that's a lot. And then don't forget to go spend your Evermarks. So on the Explorer stuff, this one will probably take the longest, so I either like to do it first or last. This is what I have on my task so far after doing everything else. I have a little bit of progress in all of these, just jumping around from doing everything. And I've been doing project discovery, and I visited different high-sec regions from the Epic Arc. Yeah. So I gotta finish up just a couple hundred more points. Basically, I'm gonna take the exploration frigate I was given, trick it out with some stuff to make it scan better and fly faster. And if you don't already know how to do exploration, definitely look that up. But this stuff is cheap enough to make it explore better, and that will help us get this done faster. So I'm just going to fly around, go into wormholes, and usually when I get to 20 containers in a wormhole, that's when I reach enough career points to have finished everything. And when it comes to the gas sites, I do all 4 tasks here, because you can warp to a gas site, warp out, and warp back. And each time you warp in is going to count as a visit. You just have to make sure you do it to a gas site that doesn't have sentry guns, because that one will one-shot you even if you're warping out immediately, at least in my experience. So I'm going to pop on the Explorer Expert System, boom. Now I can turn this on, and that gives me 3 days to find enough things to get a couple hundred skill points, or to get a couple hundred career points. I just found a gas site, so I'm going to show you what you do to complete this task real quick. So you look it up, make sure it doesn't have make sure it doesn't have a sentry turret. Only an ordinary one does, but it doesn't hurt to check anyway. And then you're going to want to warp to within 100 meters.
Warp drive.
I have it
active.
tracked here on the left side so you can see it go up as I jump in. And this is what you would do for combat sites as well. You could just jump in and jump out. You see I got progress for that, and now I'm going to jump out.
Warp drive active.
And I wouldn't do this normally, that there's enemies here, but it's just to show you that the same site counts. I'm going to jump back in anyway, which I could probably do since they're so far away.
Warp drive active.
And we're back on site, and you can see it counted again. And you just do this over and over until you have
Warp drive
15.
active.
When it comes to completing exploration, basically you're just going to want to try to hack as many containers as you can. I got really lucky and I did both the wormhole and low-sec hacking task. If I didn't get lucky, I would have, if I did all the gas sites, combat, and wormholes, I would just have to do like one of these, I think, not even. But I got lucky today, which is awesome. And that's basically it for exploration.